Well folks, today we're going to get out and try a couple different areas. I want to see if it's gotten any better between the port and Little Manatee River in the main channel there. The last few times I've fished it, more than a few times, I've not caught anything. And I want to go out there, check it, send the camera down, see what I can find. But it's been desolate since red tide, pretty much, just after red tide. So we're going to go out there and check it. We're going to go over, talk about finding new spots, looking at the sonar, looking at the side imaging, and understanding what we're looking at. So let's go ahead and see if we can't find something. GoPro, stop recording. Okay folks, what I'm doing is I'm out here searching around, looking for new areas, and you can see these rock piles right here. You can see the bait and the fish on top of them. There's some more rock piles that came in there, so I'm going to go ahead and mark those too. Mark. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to fish it. So knowing that the tide is coming in, my boat is giving me a heading of almost due west 270. Now this is very important when you go to set up your boat. Now this section of bay between the port and Cockroach Bay has been kind of void of life in the sense of catching reds and our red grouper, guy grouper, mangrove snapper, stuff like that. So I'm going to go in and test it and see. So now that I'm positioned on this spot, I can actually hear, I'm in 44 feet of water, but I can hear the live bottom crackling. I'm going to send down the underwater camera so you get a sense of what it sounds like down there, and you can actually hear it all the way up here on the boat. So that's telling me that there's some live bottom down there. So let's see if we get any fish. Well folks, I don't know what it is, but I just went just a little bit past the past the port, and I was right before the port at that last spot, and the bottom was live. There was some rocks and stuff down there, but I couldn't get a hit. And I come on this side of the port and I immediately start getting whacked. I can't tell, I didn't see any fish at that other spot on camera, so I don't know what's going on, but it's weird. I'm getting pretty good thumps here. They're just not taking it. This time I'm using a live bait. I should have gone back to a cut bait, but I don't know if it's, well, I'm pretty sure if it was from when the red tide happened and it started off where it started off at the port, and then when it crossed over the bay and went to St. Pete, I think that area in the middle of the bay got hit really hard. And I think the fish probably moved out of there. I don't think that it killed them. I think they just moved out of there. And so it's weird though. I can't catch anything going past the port and up to Little Manatee River, just out in the main channel. I can't seem to get in on any fish. It just may be me, but it's just weird how that's been happening. And I've heard it from multiple people, not just from one or two. I've heard it from multiple people. So something's going on in there, and I can't, and I'm marking fish, but they're pinfish, and so it's been really weird. And this one was just getting slammed by mangrove snapper. So when that's being done, I talk about this all the time, is I'll go ahead and I'll hook it differently. So now I'm hooking him in the belly, and I'm going to send him down and see if we can't get bit like that, if they're more aggressive with it. Sometimes when they kill the bait like that, they're aggressive towards it, but they don't want to take it. They just kill it, and that's exactly what they did with that bait. So I'm going to send them down hooked in the belly and see if that changes. Now when you hook them in the belly like that, even on an ounce weight with what I'm using right now, that bait fish will swim with that weight. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get down to the bottom, but it does give it a different presentation. As I always talk about, you always want to change it up until you figure out what pattern that these fish are going to want to bite that bait. If it's hooked in the belly, if it's hooked in the nose, if it's even a different style jig. So that's what I'm going to try next. If I don't get a hit here, I'm going to try a different style jig to see if that makes any kind of difference. And I've talked about it in the past. It's very difficult when you're by yourself trying to establish a pattern. It's so difficult because if you had 2 or 3 other people on the boat, you can say, okay, you use this, and you use this until you establish that pattern. So doing it by yourself is a little bit more cumbersome. But right now, they're not even touching this bait hooked in the belly. So that's telling me they don't want it that way. Since this tide has slowed down now, I switched over to a slacker. And boom. I don't think they were liking the heavier weight since this tide has slowed way down. So I went to the 1/8 ounce slacker. It's the strangest thing. As soon as I get past the port, I don't know what it is. I think that bottom got messed up and those fish vacated that area and they don't want any part of it. This feels like a snapper. No, grouper. Little one. Again, this goes to show that when that tide starts to slow down, you want to try to get away with as light as possible, because I was throwing down a 1 ounce and I wasn't getting any hits, so I switched to my slacker because that tide is just slow enough to do it. And every time it gets close to the bottom, bam, they're on it. So if you can go as light as you possibly can, I would suggest to do it when the tide is letting you, or is allowing you to do that. So I'm pulling up 4 times because I'm in 45 feet of water. So I should really pull 5 times, but I'm pulling 4 times, and then I feed it by hand so I can feel that line as it's going through my hand, and I'm feeling them thump it, and then I'll come tight on it and get the hook in them. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for right here. You can see this mark here. I put it there, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so now that I marked 2 spots between some hard bottom, rocky bottom, I'm going to go back through, look on my machine, see if I see anything. A lot of times though, I won't mark fish where I mark structure. I'm not marking a lot of fish inside the bay, so I'm not really looking for fish. I'm just maybe looking for elevation changes or something like that. So I'm going through this spot now just to see if I see anything kind of off the wall a little bit. I am marking some fish right down in here, so that's telling me there's some fish there, but you can see there's rocks to my left. I'm over hard bottom right now, so that's what I'm looking for. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That little ridge right there. Right there is exactly what I'm talking about. So I know I'm over the good bottom right now, so I'm going to probably move us towards a heading of about almost 100 or almost 0 due north, simply because of the way the wind's blowing. And as you can see there, over some good bottom. So let's go see what we can find. So basically I've just had to jump around quite a bit to get on some fish, and kind of stinks that I have to go all the way past the skyway to really find any fish today, at least. Before, I could fish at the port and then out towards the skyway and catch fish, but not today. Today's a little different. I can feel the snapper down there. Ah! So if you guys have been catching fish inside that area between the Port Manatee and between Little Cockroach out in the main channel. Let me know, because everybody I've talked to, we're not catching fish there. I didn't show any fish on the camera. All I saw were port fish, and so I'm not sure what's going on. It's kind of frustrating, but it's... Oh, there we go. Feels like another snapper, not a big one. Yep. Got to get through the little ones to get to the big ones. As soon as it's getting to the bottom, they're on it. But this tide is starting to change. It's taken a while to change, which is allowing me to get the bait down there, chum some dead bait, and so that's allowing that bait to slowly go down. But it is starting to change a little bit, I can tell that. Well, as you saw on that last spot, here's a snapper, that I dropped down the camera and we had all kinds of great looking structure, but we weren't marking any fish on it, or we weren't seeing any fish on it, period. So you can't really fish in a spot that has no fish. So I've been moving and I've been moving and been moving, and I've had to go past the skyway to really find some fish. I'm really frustrated and really scared about what's going on inside the bay, because that's not good. All those spots that I've stopped at this morning, I've caught fish there. Started off as a good snapper, but not bad. Still little. That's what I mean. Lately, if you get into an area and it looks good on the sonar, it may not be so good down there. So I highly recommend getting an underwater camera. Right now, I'm actually looking into bringing in my own cameras to use. They'll be relatively inexpensive. They'll be around 50 bucks, and they'll have the waterproof casing. They're in, and they have great pictures, as you see on this one. And so it does everything you need it to do for a lot less than a GoPro, because I don't want to send down a $350 GoPro down there and something go wrong. But here is how I have it set up, and I send it down to the bottom with this particular contraption, and it's worked extremely well for us. It gives us a nice steady picture. I can bring it off the bottom and it slowly rotates, and it gives you a panoramic view, or you can set it right on the bottom and it stands straight up. So it gives you a lot of different options to be able to see what's down there. I know some people have it to where they have their cameras set up into their depth finders, into their GPS units, and that's a cool aspect of it. I just don't get that technical with things. I get technical enough, but having the tools, utilizing it has taught me so much using an underwater camera. It's been teaching me how these fish react, if they're even there. As you saw earlier, we were in an area that had great structure. Saw 2 port fish and some little bait fish, but I didn't see any grunts, no snapper, no nothing, at least on the small screen. I'll have to look at it later, but it just something's not right. But utilizing something like that with an underwater camera gives you a better understanding of how these fish react. I love watching spear fishing videos on YouTube, actually, and it gives me a good idea, especially there's extreme headhunter spear fishing. They go way off, but with the way those fish sit on that structure, it pops in my mind. So I'm going to start bringing the underwater camera offshore a lot more. This one yanked the rod out of my hand. That's a good one right there, boy. That is a good grouper. Not bad. Got him on the 1/2 ounce Huggy. White. There you go. That one about pulled it out of my hands. Thought he was a small one at first. Yeah. Look at that. A little bigger than the other one. 10-pound braided, 20-pound leader. He caught me off guard. I was on my phone. All I'm doing is hooking him right in the top of the head, going out like that, sending him down. That tide is still slow enough to where I can get away with using the 20-pound leader, or the half-ounce. Well, folks, I made it back to the dock, and hopefully you took this video and learned something from it. That's why we do these videos, is we want to help as many people as we possibly can go out and catch fish. Now, like I said in the video, it seems like if you want to catch snapper and grouper, I would start concentrating my efforts from the port going out to the Gulf, because from the port to at least Little Manatee River, that whole shipping channel, the main shipping channel in there, seems to be dead. I'm pretty sure it's from red tide. I'm almost positive, unfortunately, but hopefully it comes back, because that fishing in that area was really, really good. Had hundreds and hundreds of spots. I jumped around to probably 15, 20. Never caught a fish on any of them. I was getting small taps like they were pinfish. So, and then I sent the camera down, didn't see anything. Then I went past the skyway, or past the port a little bit, dropped the camera down, saw some pork fish, and I have to see if I see any other fish on it when I look at the footage on the computer. Sometimes it's hard looking on that little screen. But anyway, again, I just want to say thank you very much for watching the show. Thank you for all of the support. This next week we'll finally be getting our boat, so we're going to start doing the subscriber giveaways for every 1,000 subscribers that we hit. So make sure that you subscribe to the website at tampabayfishingchannel.com. You can go down there at the very bottom and subscribe. And if you haven't done that, do that. And you'll also get emails from us when we're running specials, because sometimes we run specials just for our subscribers on our website, not the subscribers on YouTube, but on our website. So again, thank you very much for all of the support. You guys are keeping us extremely busy. Fish more, catch more, and we'll see you on the flip side.